31, we're talking about women and a little bit about their roles. It wasn't really the whole lesson, but we we talked about women and men and their primary roles. Men as the provider, the woman's the keeper of the home. Your children are to learn and obey and be instructed and learn how to work. There's a lot of things. And please don't get into the secular mindset here. The secular mindset is children need to learn knowledge. Okay, the Bible says knowledge is easy to him that understandeth. Okay, the Bible separates knowledge and wisdom and understanding and a whole bunch of different types of information. The Bible separates those things. Our society is magnifying knowledge, okay? But the Bible says knowledge is easy. You'll find out. I'm just looking at the history of America. Look at some of the most brilliant people and look what kind of education they had. Look at Benjamin Franklin. Okay, on the side, discovers harnessing electricity, and all these things. Amazing the things that, if you ever look at what he invented, it's amazing. Very little formal education. But when you learn to be a learner, okay, it's easy to learn a lot. But the Bible says knowledge puffeth up, okay? And so you've got this thing, is you just need to better yourself through education. Look, there are so many people who have a whole bunch of knowledge in their head and no wisdom in their life. And so their life is a wreck. There's a whole bunch of people but look, how many of you, I don't know if this will come out right, but how many of you had your parents or grandparents who had less than a high school education and made a good life out of it? Okay? Most of you, okay? And they were smart people, but they didn't have that. I'm not saying education's not good, but they're telling everybody to go to college now. Everybody doesn't need to go to college, okay? There's a whole bunch of people who waste $125,000 in 4 or 5 years of their life, get an education in, social science and liberal arts and basket weaving and stuff, and they're doesn't do anything for them, and then they're flipping burgers and because they don't know how to get a job, or they get fired from 3 nice jobs they had with their education because their parents never taught them how to work. And can I tell you, if you have you can have a great knowledge of how to do something and you don't know how to work, the only thing you can do is work and teach at a college. Okay, that's what you'll end up doing, because those who can do and those who can't teach, okay, in life. And so if you can learn the head knowledge of how to do a bunch of stuff, you have no wisdom in life, you can't handle your finances anyway, you won't have a good marriage, your kids will be a wreck, your career will be a wreck because you can't make good decisions because you don't have the wisdom. Okay, and that's why one of the things that a lot of churches make a mistake is they give you head knowledge, but not wisdom that goes with it. It's not practically applied. Okay, they'll teach you that God can do anything and you can have faith and you can trust the Lord. But what does that mean? How do you apply that in your life? How do you do that? And so knowledge is what puffs up. And so we understand that our children need wisdom, and we're supposed to teach them wisdom. Part of that is going to be how to work hard, how to go to work every day, how to be kind when you're frustrated and you come home, and all kinds of stuff that we'll learn from wisdom, and we've got to get that stuff, and not magnify the wrong things. And there's nothing wrong with knowledge, but knowledge without wisdom doesn't do anything. It just gives you a big head, basically, is all it does. And so we see that in Proverbs 31. We're talking about the virtuous woman. We said that. Her primary job is keeping to the home, but that does not mean she's not competent. And we talked about how many things she can do, and we went into that last week, and some people told me that really helped them, and they're applying it already, and that's great. So let's go ahead and read Proverbs chapter 31. We'll start at verse 10. And who can find a virtuous woman? Her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. All right, let's pray and we'll talk about it. Father, thank you for the chance to teach, and I pray today we'd get your wisdom. I pray we'd help to have the scriptures in our mind, understand them, and some practical knowledge that'll help us to live live wisely and have great homes, not houses. Lord, that's this series, Homes, Not Houses. And I pray you just help us and speak in a great way through your word as we look at this, Father, that we would get your principles that apply to every part of life, married or unmarried. Help us to get these things wisely. In Jesus' name, amen. We were back in Titus last week. We're not going to go there, but it says the older women teach younger women to love their husbands and to keep their homes, and that's their primary thing that God gives them. And so I want to finish up a little bit with this, but we're finding out. By the way, we've found this out, for 20 years of ministry, and before that, just 7 years in Bible college, working in the ministry in the weekend, and then 2.5 years of working in about 3 years working in my home church, and we've just found out, and just watching lives, and just watching my own family, not my immediate family in my marriage, but my family of extended family, brothers, sisters, cousins, everybody else. We found that there are so many problems that come with women working. So many problems. The biggest problem is there's two biggest problems. One, the connection that comes there. Now, again, we understand, we're not going to go into all of it, but we understand there's situations where a woman has to work, and we understand that, and the husband is handicapped or whatever, and she can't work from home, she's got to go out, or she's a single mom, and all those things you got to fix, and there's complications in our society. We get that. You understand the principle and the basic principle of it, understanding that's what God wants, that's the ideal. Our society's messed everything up, but that's what we're striving toward, right? We're trying to get it that direction, and we find that women, you find out two things. One, the attachments at work and the emotions that go into work, and that cause a bunch of problems. For one of the problems is now you have men and women constantly working together. And there is a huge adultery problem of men and women who work together committing adultery. Look, I knew this because this happened in my own family. In my own family, not my wife, but I'm talking when I grew up in my home with other people and brothers and sisters, mom and everybody. It happened, okay, and divorce happened because someone met somebody at work. Very common. So understand. Let me explain to you, men and women, and again, everything I say, I have to understand our society doesn't think right and is kind of strange. But typically, a woman is more emotionally based and gets attached. Okay, that's the way they're wired. Look, if my wife and I, okay, me and my wife and my kids, and I've got 5 daughters and everything, and then if me and the whole family is watching. We were watching a Hallmark thing lately, okay? Here's how I watch a Hallmark. Why is she going at that dummy? What a dumb woman. That's the way I watch it, okay? Here's how they watch it. Oh, why is she doing that? This is so sad. They're emotionally involved. I'm practically involved, okay? And so I kind of look at it and say, that's dumb. Why are you doing that? They kind of get emotionally involved and are attached to the people in there. I say, she deserves it if she marries him. They say, oh, she can have such a sad life. And so we watch it differently because we're wired different. Okay? Now understand, men are feminine in America and they sit there and clasp their hands and, I get that stuff. But the natural way they're wired is they're different. So, now get this. A guy goes to a job and his supervisor's a jerk. Okay? And he doesn't like the job. And here's what the guy does. He goes to work. He doesn't like his job. In his mind, he thinks, this guy's a jerk. And he goes and he works, and he goes home. And he goes to spend time with his family. A woman goes there, and her supervisor's a jerk. She takes it very personally. Why does this guy not like me? Why does this supervisor, why does she treat me this way? There's a problem. She thinks this of me, and she gets emotionally involved. And it's a lot of stress for her unless it's an ideal work situation. Why? Because she gets, and then the company lays a guy off. The guy's a normal guy. Again, not today. Nowadays, the guy shuts down and curls in a ball and calls his mom. But normally what happens, the company gets shut down, and the guy says, oh, man, this stinks. I kind of like that job. I'm going to go get another job. And off he goes, applying to 50 jobs a day. The woman is so emotionally involved because that's part of her emotions, that her job is supposed to be loving those children and involved in those children, and this home, her heart is 1,000%. Women have a hard time putting their heart halfway into anything. They're very loving, they're very compassionate, they're very maternal, and so if they go into it and they get very intensely passionate about their job, and they'll have a very hard time not taking their problems at work home. Now, men have a little problem with that. Women, the job shuts down, it's a personal failure for them. Guy shuts down, the job shuts down, he's looking for the next job. Because not that as much, now he'll have an emotional attachment, and the woman will look for another job. We understand that, they're not, neither one's 100% that way. But there's a lot of problems that come in with it. Pretty soon, many times a working woman, she says her family's her priority, but emotionally it's not. Now, women are incredible. They can come home and work incredibly hard after a hard day's work, and they'll take care of everything physically and things. But emotionally, their emotions got attached all day at work. We're involved. Where a man's body and mind might be is at work, and a little bit of emotions. And see, men kind of know what I'm talking about. You can kind of say, it's a job. Okay, how many of you men have had a bunch of jobs you said, it's a job. It's not permanent, just a place to be for a while, it's fine. You're not emotionally involved, it's just a job. See, because that's the way we're wired, okay? Now, when you're at work, all you're doing is working, because men tend to do one thing at a time. But your life is not that job. But a woman is made to pour her life into things. And so many times when she gets a job, she pours her life into the job, and emotions go into it, and failures feel so personal, and relationships at work. And look, relationships at work are all kinds of things. You don't get to choose who you work with. Okay, so we found some problems, and then all of a sudden they find this person, this woman's working at work, and she finds this person who understands them. in the Philippines. So, and I'll talk about this in Sunday morning. Maybe I won't even get to it because of time. But I want to say you learn to be an honorer. People are made in the image of God. Let me take it to 2 Peter 2:17. So I go understand, even when you're talking, and you're going to have problems with some of this stuff, but understand, even when you're talking to a messed up person who's made foolish decisions in their life, that is a creature created in the image of God. I'm talking the drug addict and the homeless guy. I understand they've been foolish. I understand they made bad decisions, but understand they're a sacred thing. They're a human. And they're made in the image of God, and they shouldn't be tossed aside and disrespected. Let them get the results of their actions, but it does not mean you have a superior attitude and think, you know what, you don't deserve anything, get away from me. They aren't pathetic in who they are. They're pathetic in their actions, but understand, people need honored because they're humans. Okay? And 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 17, honor all men. Love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king. 1 Peter 2:17. So you have that honoring thing where you know how to treat people with respect. Look, you have a reverence for people, and it goes in many different ways. Husbands and wives should honor each other. We're in 1 Peter, so let's read these verses quickly. 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them, talking about the wife, according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. It says, men, honor your wives. Honor your wives. Okay? You're supposed to do that. And women, you're supposed to honor your husbands. Ephesians 5, verse 33, it says, and ye women, wives, see that you reverence your husband. It steps up. The wife toward the husband has a little notch up. Beyond honoring is the word reverence. Okay? Reverence, the word means in the Greek to passively be alarmed. Okay? Now, here's where I have a problem here. As a person who really tried to learn from, realizing how messed up my culture was growing up, I really tried to learn from the older generation. I picked up a lot of things. We're having a problem now to even explain this now to people who are under about 50. What reverence is toward people, and that it's a healthy thing. So there is a sort of reverential fear of people that is a good thing in the right position. Okay? Now, it is a passive reverence. It is not an active fear. Okay? So some of you who are older, you had this thing about your dad. You say, oh no, I would never mess with my dad. My dad is somebody. My dad is. You had that. Now, you loved your dad. They also say, oh, I had a great dad. I loved my dad. My dad is great. I had a great dad. He was great. He was such a good dad. And then I say, did you ever disobey your dad? Oh, no. Same dad. You had a love and a respect, and you also had this, somewhere back to this reverence of saying, no, I would never talk back to my dad. No way. How many of you that the relationship is talked about, both I love them, I respect them, they're a great dad, they were wonderful, but I would never mess with them. How many of you had that for your parents? Raise your hand. Okay. That's more than I expected. Okay. That is a good thing. And it says a wife should have that for her husband. Okay? Now I'm in trouble. Okay? The wife should look at her husband not, what are you doing, you idiot? No. You don't do that to your husband. He is a husband. That's a sacred position with God. He's a leader of the home. And by the way, your lectures and criticisms will never make a man step up. A man steps up because of pressure. Okay, a man, not a boy, but a man. If you go, you know what, honey, I'm just going to trust you. You know what you're doing? You know what? I'm just going to trust you to figure this all out. I know you'll figure out a way to pay our bills. That man then will step up. If you say, you dirty dirtbag, you don't take care of us very well, he's going to say, well, I'm going to try anyway. But a woman who trusts her man and has a reverence for his position, it makes a man become a man. Because men work best under pressure. Understand that. Women work best under praise. Men work best under pressure. Men want to be admired. Okay? If a man feels like he's needed, he will do anything. It's amazing how we have these boys who are 10, 12, 14. They start hanging around our family, and we'll start showing, well, we need your help in this thing. Man, you did a great job at this. How that boy's chest starts sticking up and his chin gets a little higher because all he's been is torn down in his manhood for his whole life, and how he becomes a man. And he steps up. But you need to have reverence. And by the way, when you have reverence for a male and respect for them, they fit into that respect you gave them. What happened, and women, I know you don't understand this because men are weird, okay? We are weird. But if you make this man, you say, you are this. I think you are this. If the man isn't that, he will become that because you think he's that. And he'll step up. Men step up when they're needed. And if you, by the way, if you always provide the needs and say, I'll just work anyway, because he will never step up, because why? He's not needed. Men step under pressure. That's why men sit there and you watch them and say, why does he keep on going 3, 2, 1? Why does he do that all the time? Because men love pressure. And they want to hit the last shot and win the basketball game. Because men are weird. And they step up. And if your husband had to work 80 hours in a week, if he needed to and there's no other options, there's no government to bail him out, and nobody else is going to bail him out and he couldn't call mommy, he would step up and work 80 hours in a week. Because men can. But they usually just are torn down. Masculinity is so torn down in our society. Men do not step up, but men can do great things when they need to. That's why welfare has messed up our manhood so much. Because the men don't need to anymore. Pa in Little House on the Prairie doesn't need to literally walk 100 miles one way to find a job. But he did. Because there's no other choice. Okay? Because manhood steps up when you admire them and reverence them. And it's a very sacred position. And men become what they will admire and reverence. It makes it much easier on them. The woman should do it for the position. If the man hasn't earned it yet, he'll earn it once she gives him the honor and does that. And by the way, people become their praise. People become their praise. And you praise your wife, and you'll find out she'll want to please you a whole bunch more because you praise her. Instead of criticizing her for what she isn't, you praise her for what she is. She'll know what you want, and she'll become what you want. And she does that. Husbands and wives should honor each other. Husbands and wives should honor each other. Let me go one more. Children should honor their parents as well as obey them. Ephesians chapter 6, familiar verses. Children should honor their parents as well as obey them. Ephesians 6:1, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. And that's good and that's important. Next verse says, honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise. You can obey without honoring. You cannot honor without obeying. Okay? Obeying is, okay, go pick up those books. Okay? This is obeying. Pick up books. Okay? But I can pick up the books like this. I can obey. Go pick up the books. Okay, I picked the book. Did I honor? No. I did not honor. And so honoring and obeying are different. You should give honor to your parents and obey your parents. God separates the two. Okay? Parents, don't expect your kids to honor you when mom doesn't honor dad, dad doesn't honor mom, and dad doesn't honor the boss, and they don't honor the president, and they don't honor the leaders, and they don't honor the policemen, and everybody's dishonored, and then you say, you should honor me. I'm your dad. Well, you don't honor the policeman. You don't honor the president. You call him a stupid jerk. You don't honor your parents. You didn't teach them to honor. You talk about the preacher all the time, bad. You don't like me talking about you, it's the same thing. Yep. It's the same thing. You didn't teach your kids how to honor, and guess what? Guess who they're not going to honor because they learned to be dishonoring people? You. So be careful to be an honoring person. A person who's very reverential. Maybe you say, you know what? Maybe you can't honor somebody. You say, let's talk about something else. Because that position, you cannot honor them. Then just be silent. But be careful on that stuff. I got to finish. Honor is a very important thing. Father, thank you.